Back in 2019, it was considered a foregone conclusion that the Saints were just completely screwed once Drew Brees got injured and was going to miss 5 weeks. Instead, the Saints would go 5-0 with Teddy Bridgewater. Last year in 2020, we now had another injury, and it's now Sean Payton is stuck with playing the next 3 games with Taysom Hill, a quarterback who's most known for his rushing ability. Hill would end up going 3-1, again, surpassing all expectations. Now, with Brees retired, many thought the Saints would finally fall apart, but they have now gone 5-2 with Jameis Winston. So for all of you who are saying the Saints are now screwed, that they don't have Jameis Winston and have to rely on Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian, clearly you haven't been paying attention. So something like this play is a really good example of what Sean Payton was able to do just throughout this game. Let's just take a look at what's going on the bottom section of the field. 2 Saints receivers, 2 Tampa Bay corners. That's all you see there. So what kind of coverage is this? What kind of route concept should the Saints run? What do you do here? So the Saints are running this concept. Why does this matter? Who cares? What's the benefit? What's the, downside? I think a good way to think about this is, okay, so what coverage could Tampa Bay be running that this is good against, and what coverage could they be running that this is bad against? Well, the thing that you have to pay attention to on this play is there's a single safety deep. This is what Tampa Bay typically does. They didn't do it in the Super Bowl, right? Famously, they played cover 2 against Mahomes for most of the game, but typically they play cover 1 or cover 3. This is what cover 3 looks like. Cover 3 zone. Cover 3 is basically always a zone play. If you're playing man, it would only be a 3-man rush. So on cover 3 zone, think about the way this concept would work. Well, the deeper route could potentially get open, right? I mean, maybe the corner could crash in and take it away. Maybe a linebacker could stay deep and knock it away. But if the linebacker does go further deep, linebacker or safety corner, whoever's covering the flat area, that's what you call it, the bottom section of our screen. If that's whoever's covering there on this play, it's if it was cover 3, it would be a cornerback, Ross Cockrell. If he goes further deep, you can throw it underneath. If he goes underneath, then further deep's probably open. So this concept works against cover 3 zone. Great. Tampa Bay can't do that. You got to play man, right? Well, the issue is if you play man, so what you see on the screen, this is how you would have to do it. And this would be the worst case scenario for them if they are playing man, would be like a cover 1 hole where you still have a linebacker over the middle of the field. Even in this situation, these are 2 routes that can work against man coverage, right? So either way, you're putting yourself in positions where you can succeed. This, of course, isn't anything earth-shattering. I mean, plenty of teams do this, but the reason why this works so effectively against Tampa Bay is a lot of times, especially with their weak corners this season, what they've been doing is they've been just trying to deceive people. They're trying to get you to be confused as to what coverage it is. Sean Payton's kind of taking that out of the equation by saying, listen, none of these concepts are going to be guarantees to work because we don't know what coverage we're going up against. But let's instead run some concepts that can just kind of work against any coverage. Maybe it won't be the best thing in the world every play, but it'll be a good play consistently. So as you see, Tampa Bay, they are eventually playing a cover 3 zone, but a very sort of exotic look. There's a, clever kind of blitz concept where, you have multiple edge rushers dropping back into coverage. It's the Todd Bowles stuff. And you see that, okay, at this point, honestly, both of these routes are open. The underneath one definitely open. Deeper route, a little bit more difficult. It would take a good throw, and honestly, it's probably too risky. But underneath, that is open. This is a quick throw from Siemian, and by the way, I'm only going to focus on Siemian plays because that's kind of what's more interesting to me is Sean Payton having success with a backup. And, good job by him on that play. And by him, I mean Sean Payton, of just, stuff like that. Nothing too fancy, but you don't always have to be fancy. Like another play is something like this, where what happened a few times is, well, yes, they did that first play. Sometimes they would do stuff like a play like this, which is solely designed to beat zone coverage. If this is man, this is going to be rough, quite frankly. This is going to be, you're going to have a hard time, but they're kind of banking on this being a zone coverage play. They think that there's a good chance this will be zone, and Payton seemingly, when he takes a chance like this, he guesses correctly. Once Siemian takes the snap, you're going to notice that right here, so the first read for Siemian is actually the what appears to be the least open right now, but Devin White's not going to play this very well. He's kind of trying to read the quarterback along with cover, and it's just difficult to do. Look, White eventually just keeps running, and then Siemian notices it, makes the throw. You pick up some yards right there. So it's not just like, okay, these mind-bending stuff. Sometimes it's just as simple as taking a guess on what coverage you think it is and being right. And that's kind of what makes a play caller good, is sort of reading the flow of the game and figuring out what your opposing team is doing, and then doing something that's good against that kind of play. All right, now let's talk about this one. This was the Kevin White play. I'm surprised that Kevin White hasn't been able to really have any success in the NFL for the most part, because, listen, just being a big guy who can run a sub 440, that has value in itself. For those unaware of who Kevin White is, Kevin White was the former 7th overall pick of the Chicago Bears, who has, that was in 2015. He's racked up just 323 career yards, but he gets his first catch of the season with the Saints' first catch, not in the Bears uniform, on this play, which is it's just going to be a speed play. Like, speed is still something that you can't really teach. It's a go route, single safety deep, and part of me wonders if the Saints picked up Kevin White simply because they were going to play against Tampa Bay, who has some slower corners, along with, like Jamel Dean, he's the fast corner, but some of these other guys aren't the fastest. And look, when this play starts, obviously Tampa Bay has their backup corners, and this is not a starter, but White just blows right by him. There's no move, there's nothing fancy. This is just really what I'm giving Sean Payton credit for here is simply just a personnel decision more than anything, which I think is a fair thing to give him credit for. Like, I always want a guy like this on my team if I'm an NFL head coach. Just give me a fast guy. There's going to be some value, especially against a team like Tampa. You're in their division. Get some of these role players that can be good counters. I wouldn't be shocked if the next time these two teams play, Kevin White has another big pass. And finally, stuff like this. One of the things I love about Sean Payton is he doesn't have an ego. And, okay, he probably has an ego in real life, but in terms of on the field, the way he calls games, he doesn't say, no, this is what we do, and you are not going to be able to beat it. He says, no, you would beat something that we can do, so we're going to just do something else. Like on this play, they like a good amount of outside runs in general, but listen, when you're playing Tampa Bay, they have Vita Vea and Sue on the inside. You don't run to the inside. So they didn't run to the inside. You still want to get Kamara into the game, run him to the outside, do things like that. And so as you see, that's exactly what they're going to do, and they pick up a solid run on this play. The running game still wasn't fantastic. Listen, you're playing Tampa Bay. They have the maybe the best running game and run stopping game in the league, but still you were able to do solid against it. You had 3.2 yards per carry. You at least got some more value there. And also, I don't always credit people based on results. It's also just the decision making that you had, and this was just a good decision to just run it away from the interior. Makes sense. Know your strengths, your tackles, and know their strengths, defensive tackles. Go to the outside. Good stuff by Payton. So yeah, listen, there's no doubt about it. Sean Payton is good. We all know this. Sean Payton has done a lot very well for the Saints, and he's continuously had success even without Breeze now. So obviously, having an elite quarterback is going to help you. But so far, he's had plenty of success. He deserves to be in the Coach of the Year conversation, and he really deserves to be in the Coach of the Year conversation every year. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.